being so insightful. Laura, thank you for being so well prepared. And thank you for leading by example. My favorite methodology for leadership, and the one that I recommend the highest, is example. True inspiration with your presentation today. This evening, I'm going to share with you and the club what you did great, what I really liked, areas for improvement, and then some final observations. What you did great, and this was reflected amongst the general evaluation too, was excellent use of imagery and also metaphor. You began your presentation doing one of my other favorite things, which is getting right in there, just starting. I love that. But back to imagery, you started off with so much rich vocabulary, speaking of things like fresh glimmer and freshly scribed writings. There was other imagery as well that I really enjoyed, keeping that spark of joy that you mentioned there. The metaphor, the one that's going to stick with us, is how you did a great job of turning this pursuit and this evaluation into a dance about music, using things like playlists and DJ Universe. When we are presenting and looking to be concise, the use of metaphor is very helpful in that. And you took something as big as resolution and took it to a place where it was more digestible by using this metaphor around dance, playlist, and universe. What I really liked in your presentation is your ability to use contrast. If you listen closely, you would have heard her use things like clear mystery. Catch the contrast in that? There was another one which she talked about an ordinary and extraordinary. Another use of contrast. And there was one in the end that really perplexed me a bit. I'll maybe ask for more clarity there. She says, fortunately, unfortunately. Great use of contrast nonetheless. An area for improvement that I noticed when watching your presentation comes in the space of the amount of information that was presented. I thought it was a lot of information. 12 steps, I could see the parallel of how it would be applicable to say 12 steps, 12 months, but the number 12 by itself is a lot to take in initially. However, with that information, lots of information, you did a great job of being well prepared, using your notes to keep yourself on flow and structured in the information. You also gave us handouts to help manage that information, so great job supplementing the amount of content with your preparation and then also the handout. But again, I can see that information being scaled back to maybe like 6 or 4, and then leaving more space where you could have given us a little bit more heart and a little bit more hand. You did mention some things that you did in practicality, but if there was less amount of steps, dance steps, that you presented to us, there would have been more space where you could have given us some more clearer examples of how that really showed up in story or heart or in more practical nature in hand. What I liked, some final observations have to do with some of my favorite things, the power of invitation. I love invitation. Whenever I'm presenting to groups, I rarely, if ever, use the word challenge because it can trigger people. I always use the word invitation. I invite you to versus challenge to. And you did that so well as you invited us to dance. Great use of invitation. I also really liked how there was an inspirational undertone to this presentation. Love inspiration, something people could walk away with and remember. So that call and pursuit to higher self, well, actually, the inspiring, alluring, breathtaking higher self. Again, credits and kudos to your use of imagery. So I love the inspirational undertone. in my evaluation as well, which I can be deep, I also pay close attention to nonverbal communication, not just the words that you use. So, Laura, you did an excellent job of not only using the floor and your hands when you were communicating. I think also just the way you showed up today, in alignment with how you presented yourself, I think it's fun, I think it's attractive, and I think that, well, I know that that also makes a difference in how we are received when we're doing presentations. And sometimes we can miss that, what's being communicated with how I dress, what color am I wearing, what are my patterns, and those different types of things. So I just thought that non-verbally, everything was in line with that. Final observation, saving the best for last, on time. Absolutely on time. I feel like I was living in another dimension or universe to see this happen after 2.5 years of membership. I think I can count on one hand how many times I've seen that happen. But it truly is a testament and a commitment to you leading by example, acknowledging that you set a bar and a standard for us here in this club. And again, I just want to thank you for such a phenomenal presentation. Very insightful and very inspirational. Job well done.
That was a fine example of eloquence. Beautiful words that created wonderful pictures. Next we have Zach to evaluate Alan's speech.